The Infectious Madness of Dr. Dekker, released in May of 2017 for PC and then later in June of 2018 for consoles, was developed by Dekker Studios, I think I'm saying that name right, and published by Wales Interactive. Dr. Dekker was part of a re-emergence of full-motion gaming that aimed to take what was once thought of as cheap and corny
What's going on?
That girl looks exactly like Madeline.
Oh, not that again.
No, not that again.
Come on, Studley, we better change that code.
How about orange?
Sure.
and put it on the same level as some of the best games in the industry. Does it succeed in this lofty endeavor? Or does it only succeed in being a contemporary version of those silly full-motion games of the 1990s? How you doing, fellow geeks? GamerDad79 here. Now let's dig in and see how far the insanity meter fills up while we talk about the infectious madness of Dr. Dekker. In the Infectious Madness of Dr. Dekker, you play as a psychiatrist who is hired after Dr. Dekker himself is murdered. The police believe that it was one of his patients, and it's up to you to figure out who did it. However, you quickly learn that Dr. Dekker's patients are not the normal run-of-the-mill people needing help. Seriously, guys, you're going to come across some crazy characters during this game. Some people that are going to make you question your own sanity. Gameplay revolves around a simple question and answer mechanic. As you are meeting with your patients, you type in what questions you want to ask, and the patients respond to your inquiry. It's a simple to understand mechanic, but difficult to master, as you have to listen closely to what the patients have to say in order to access everything the patients may be hiding. You really have to play Master Detective in order to gain access to their deep, dark secrets. Seriously, guys, you almost have to be a psychiatrist while playing this game to really dig in and find the right questions to ask your patients to gain all the knowledge. There is a hint system at play, and that is how Dekker Studios measures its difficulty. If you want an easier time, you set your cooldown timer to a shorter time, giving you access to the hints quicker. If you want a more difficult setting, you set it for maximum cooldown time, making you have to pay closer attention to what your patients say and do to guide your questioning. The writing and acting in this game are, to me, brilliant, especially when you consider the full motion genre's history and its past. It's known for its cheesy acting and stories. You can tell that Dekker Studios really cares for the subject matter and took a lot of time making sure the script was perfect in executing their vision. They made sure that the actors and actresses fit their roles they were cast in to a T. Personally, I couldn't find one weak spot in this fantastic cast. Seriously, guys, that's not hyperbole at all. I really think the cast was fantastic, and I think the writing was top-notch, on par with some of the best Hollywood dramas that are on the market today. One of my favorite aspects of the game didn't have much to do with the game itself at all. Every time you log back into the game after being away from it, you are greeted with a recap montage of all the really pertinent information that you have come across in the last few gameplay days. If you're like me and have a busy life, then whenever you log back into a game that you've been away from for a while, you feel like that John Travolta meme where he's looking around feeling lost. This feature is a godsend for people like me, and I wish more games adapted it. To have some sort of a recap when you log back into a game you haven't played in a while really was absolutely brilliant. There are a few games that have adapted something similar to this, but I think it should be something that is standard in almost every video game nowadays. I have an extremely busy lifestyle, and there are some times when I don't get back to a game for several days, if not sometimes several weeks, especially if I want to vary up what games I'm playing at the time. It's an immeasurably helpful tool to have when you are an adult gamer with adult responsibilities. There is an air of the supernatural to your patients in this game, and you must decide if what they're telling you is the truth or the result of a deranged mind. Dekker Studios does not shy away from its Lovecraftian inspiration. They embrace it with a giant bear hug. They even call out Cthulhu several times during the game, making you question if the great old god is real or not. I'm a big Lovecraft fan. I love stories that are inspired by his work, and obviously I love his work. Sometimes in movies and other sorts of fiction, they're inspired by Lovecraft, but they never really fully get into that world and talk about the great elder gods and the cults and everything that goes along with it. The Infectious Madness of Dr. Dekker fully embraces that weirdness, that craziness that Lovecraft is known for, and runs with it. The game does have multiple endings that are reached by just how much madness you are willing to subject yourself to while questioning your patients. Depending on what questions you ask of whom and who you choose to believe will dictate which ending you will get. I played twice already, and each time I've come away with two distinct endings. This, coupled with so many different filmed scenes, give a lot of replayability to this game. I love games that play with your sanity and your madness. I'm a huge fan of the old GameCube game Eternal Darkness, where that really played with your senses and whether or not you were truly going crazy. And the Infectious Madness of Dr. Dekker attempts to take that and make it real in the full motion genre. And there are plenty of times throughout the game where you will go, wait a minute, did I just see that? And if you watch a replay, it's not there anymore, so pay close attention. One thing to look out for is that the game can get very dark towards the end of the story. If you are easily upset by disturbing themes such as rape or voyeurism, you might want to stay away. Now, to be clear, you don't see anything, but your patients can sometimes describe a traumatic event in stark detail that could be upsetting to some. Personally, I appreciate the mature themes at play. It shows that Dekker Studios isn't afraid to tackle some pretty serious subject matter. It can get a little dark towards the end of that game right there, towards the end of this game right there, and you have to be careful because if you are easily upset by that type of stuff, you will be upset by some of the topics and themes that are discussed later on in the game. Like I said, you don't see anything. There are no scenes of graphic violence or rape or anything like that, but it is talked about during the game. I had a very few dislikes when it came to the Infectious Madness of Dr. Dekker. One of those was that at certain times you need to be extremely specific when it comes to asking certain questions. It didn't happen a lot, and you could certainly figure out what you need to ask by utilizing the handy drop-down or hint system, but it could get frustrating when you knew what you were asking but the game didn't recognize it. There were a few certain circumstances where I had to be extremely specific in the questions I was asking, and even though I was asking them in a clear way, the game wasn't recognizing it, right? This is still the technology used to respond to the questions had to be something groundbreaking in my opinion, and it still has some iffy parts to it. There is a drop-down menu that was introduced later on. It didn't come with the original PC version of the game. It came out later on when consoles were introduced, and you weren't exactly going to type as much as you would on a PC. That could help you out in some ways. You drop down the menu and it gives you a list of questions you can ask. But sometimes if you want to get a full everything a certain patient wants to know, you have to sometimes be specific. I do wish the metagame was explained more. During your time with the game, you will come to realize that there is more at play here than what is happening in your psychiatry room. I wish those story threads were expanded on just a little bit more, especially when you are left with more questions than answers at the end of your journey. Now I get it, the therapist is supposed to be you. You are never assigned a sex or name beyond doctor, so you, the player, are the one sitting opposite the patients. Because of this, I understand that you wouldn't know what else is going on, but even still, I would have liked to know more about this world and what was actually happening. There is much larger events at play during the infectious madness of Dr. Dekker, and you get hints of that throughout the game. Now, this doesn't detract from the enjoyment of the game whatsoever. I still fully enjoyed every moment I played with the game. I would have just liked to have known a little bit more, especially when the game ended. Final thoughts. The Infectious Madness of Dr. Dekker is one of those games that comes along and defines what a genre of gaming can be capable of. It shows that we are not limited by what has come before us and dares to defy expectations. It flips the genre on its head and explores themes in a way that challenges what makes us different and what lurks in the dark recesses of our mind. It does not shy away from deeply disturbing and dark looks into our own minds. It asks, what would you do if you had these abilities? Would you use them for greater good or for evil? And at what cost? The Infectious Madness of Dr. Dekker has become my favorite full motion video game of all time. And it is a game I would recommend to anyone who is interested in the genre, someone who has been disenfranchised by earlier games in the genre, or especially any fans of the full motion video game. Now, I hope to see more games like the Infectious Madness of Dr. Dekker, games that challenge what a full motion video game can be. I love games that explore dark themes and play with your sanity and play with your emotions the way Dr. Dekker did, and I really hope we see more games like it. I've always enjoyed the idea of an interactive movie ever since I was a little kid and I first got my hands on the Sega CD and those early full motion video games. I loved that thought of being able to control a movie, and today's full motion video games have come further than ever in letting us realize those dreams. Alright guys, that is it for today's video. Let me know what you thought about the Infectious Madness of Dr. Dekker in the comments section below, and let me know what future full motion video games you would like to see GamerDad79 cover. As always guys, give me a thumbs up if you like the content. A thumbs up always help. If you're not a subscriber and you like the video, please hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell so you know when I upload new videos. If you are a fan of my content, please share the videos. I am trying to hit 100 subscribers by Christmas. I think that would be a great Christmas present to myself. Until next time, fellow geeks, I am GamerDad79. Keep on geeking on.